campaigns.
All right, one of the major things that I'm hearing there, you mentioned a few things: going too fast, optimism bias. You talked about the true cost of road accidents rather, and then of course, progressive, I would imagine, road safety campaigns. Let's go back to speed, because a lot of people will say this is maybe one of the first things that comes to mind. So, do you believe that reduced speed limits would help, given what we're seeing of vehicles on the roads?
Well, as it stands, there are speed limits related to different categories or classes of vehicles. What I think is the main issue is that persons are not adhering to those speed limits, and they're going too fast, as I said, in unknown conditions. You might be approaching a corner, and you know you should slow down as you enter the corner, but you might think, again, because of optimism bias, that you're a better driver or a better rider than other people, and you will think that you can maybe do better than somebody else and navigate the corner better. But then, you lose control, you end up in somebody's house, you end up in somebody's guard wall or something like that.
All right. Is there any data to suggest that this could be as a result of anything else on the road outside of what you outlined with the going fast, optimism bias? I know there's been a lot of talk about drug and alcohol use, about people driving under the influence. There was a mad push to try to have the breathalyzer instituted and things of that nature. So is there evidence to suggest that this could be as a result of something else?
Well, the thing is that there's not a lot of evidence out there, and that's why I said earlier in my first round press briefing that we need to conduct a study where we can hone in on the main issues. We can go there and interview the person and see what issues they have, whether it is using the roads properly, adhering to the roads, or understanding the actual rules of the roads, actual driver skill and ability, or issues relative to the construction of roundabouts or the placement of signage. But we don't really know for sure. And the only way we can know is if we go out there and conduct studies and surveys and then use that information to inform our decisions. And that information also will inform our campaigns and how they're designed and disseminated to the public.
A suggestion has been made about heavy-duty vehicles being regulated to early hours and not rush hour. How do you think this could help in the overall picture of not only how we see traffic going in Barbados, but with some road accidents?
Well, that idea could be of some effect. As I said earlier, certain classes of vehicles have design speed limits that are specific to those classes of vehicles. Maybe that could be a problem if persons are not adhering to those speed limits and using those vehicles that are heavier on the road, meaning that they are more dangerous at high speeds. So if persons maintain or adhere to the speed limits, then we could see a reduction in issues related to those type of vehicles as well.
With the presence of cycle lanes, for example, that we see in other parts of the world, North America and the UK, for example, to your mind, do you think that these bicycles or motorcycle lanes would help as well?
Yes, I do believe so, because the cyclists are some of the most vulnerable road users. And if we have to take care of our most vulnerable road users first, or they should be at the forefront of our thinking, design roads, and we think about the amount of persons or the traffic congestion on the road. So a bicycle lane or cycle lane, that would be of some great use to the persons using the road, especially those cyclists, and even proper pedestrian sidewalks and crossings and more crossings. One other issue too that was raised to me by a member of our executive committee relates to the use of parking spaces for persons who are disabled. There are some places have them there, and the standard I think is one for every 25 parking spaces. However, some are there, but then they have a big, I want to say, piece of wall on the road itself, and that impedes their access to the vehicle and exiting from the vehicle as well.
All right, that certainly is, another area that we can delve into and talk to about for a long time. But getting back to, what's happening on the roads directly, what programs could your association develop or help with to help road users, because we have a situation where people get their licenses and they really have them for life. If you have no reason to go before the courts or what have you, nobody questions whether you drive or how often you drive. Yet you can, as you go through life, get behind the wheel of a vehicle and pretty much just go. So what are some of the programs that your association can develop or help with to maybe aid in training people even after they get their licenses?
Well, as it stands, the Barbados Road Safety Association has two committees that would be helpful in that area. There's the subcommittee that deals with training and the subcommittee that deals with education. And those two subcommittees could really have an impact relative to the training, the ongoing training, and I believe that there should be ongoing assessment of drivers as well, both drivers and instructors. Because as I said, there needs to be a mindset change. Persons believe that they are the best drivers on the road. Some believe that because they had their license for 50 years, they're an expert driver. But all that also too feeds into the idea of optimism bias. You know, you think that you're better than you really are. And if we have ongoing training and assessment, then we can then identify where you might be lacking and where you could use improvement.
All right. Well, thank you so much, President of the Barbados Road Safety Association, Roland Lowe. And of course, congratulations are in order to you. I believe this is our first conversation since you took on the new role.
Yes, it is. And thank you very much. And I just want to say that we at the Barbados Road Safety Association, our mandate is to create safer roads for all road users. And we will use all of the training and all of the skills that we have to bring about or to this end.
Well, just take this opportunity to say now how you, in your new role as president, plan to bring the association even more in line with speaking directly to members of the Barbadian public.
Well, as it stands, first thing we want to do, or one of the main things we want to concentrate on, is boosting membership. To that end, we are looking at removing the membership fee and just instituting a registration fee. We are also looking to get back out there into the public eye. We're going to do some more, we want to get back into the schools and do education from primary school students, secondary school students as well. We also are looking at, as I said earlier, doing some training and assessment for drivers as well as driving instructors to help to bring about that mindset change. Education and training, I believe, are the key to those things. And we also want to get ourselves more into the current times and on Instagram and all the other social media platforms so that we have a direct link to the persons over there and also so that they have a direct link to us. We welcome your suggestions, we welcome your talent and your skills, and we welcome and we want your membership.
All right. I wish you the very best throughout your tenure. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you, Tisha.
Coming up on the CBC Morning Report, the BSTU wary of the increasing incidents of violence in schools.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special?
Violence in schools and the disciplinary measures are not working. That's the view of the president of the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, Marianne Redmond. Speaking on last evening's one-on-one current affairs program produced by the Public Affairs Department, Ms. Redmond says confrontations between teachers and parents isn't helping either.
Suspensions now mean nothing to children. A visit to the Edna Nichols Center they enjoy. There is no corporal punishment. Detentions mean nothing. And so there is a sense of impotence, I do believe, among so much of the teaching fraternity in relation to addressing disciplinary matters in school. Parents, too, in too many instances have taken a different approach where they come to the school premises to engage rather than in a negative way, rather than offer the type of support to the school and what the school is trying to do in relation to disciplining their children. So we have this confrontation now to too large an extent between parents and school authorities and teachers in relation to discipline. So in many instances, children feel that there are no consequences to their actions.
As far as the upcoming reform of the education system is concerned, Ms. Redmond supports the plans and hopes they cater to the needs of the students.
What they have planned in a meaningful way will help students to really be their best, to self-actualize. There is a new planned transition from primary to secondary. I think that is, I can say that because that is public knowledge. And the secondary system will be broken down into 2 levels: junior academy and academies of excellence. And that changed structure will allow students to have the type of exposure that they need to make the choices that they need further on best suited to their capabilities, to their intelligences, and to equip them for life after school.
As we look further afield, we hear that the 2 warring factions in Sudan are into another round of talks aimed at allowing humanitarian aid to get those who need it. Time to preview what's coming up now on Morning Barbados. Well, this morning we're going to have the Barbados Association of Endometriosis and PCOS with Dr. Rashida Daisley, Shannon Cohn and Julia Mandeville, chairman of the board of the association, all in to tell us more about the Barbados Association of Endometriosis and PCOS and the upcoming events they have and policy discussions as well. The Diabetes and Hypertension Association of Barbados are looking forward to World Hypertension Day. It's coming up on the 17th of May. And we will be talking about your blood pressure and all you need to know. We know that Barbadians are battling in a serious way with NCDs, especially hypertension. So that's definitely something you want to stay tuned for. The next chapter today features Zoanne Evans, an author who authored Memory and Landscape, the works of 4 early 20th century Barbadian writers. So a refix on that one. And today in our segment of Life, Love and Hope, Dr. Denise Charles is talking about handling competitiveness in relationships. Plus, Beige to the World Season 3. The curtain came down on that show last evening, and we're going to tell you more about that. Who knows, you just might see the top 3 here. Plus, we're talking about a fundraiser, a heart for Basil Jemmett. Alvin Jemmett, his brother, will be here to tell us all about that fundraiser. That's called coming up on Morning Barbados. Next, though, we have more news, sports, and weather after this break.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCT.
Non-communicable diseases are responsible for 8 out of every 10 deaths in Barbados. That's the latest statistic provided by the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO. The local advocacy organization is therefore calling for more charities and individuals to step up and sign up for a free certificate course to help individuals manage their hypertension and diabetes. Many people are not taking as active role as they should in self-management of their chronic conditions. So through a partnership with the Pan American Health Organization and the Diabetes and Hypertension Association of Barbados, individuals are being given the necessary tools to manage these chronic ailments. A recent presentation to those who successfully completed the 6-week chronic disease self-management certificate program was held for 47 participants. President and trustee Trudy Griffith says people only remember some of the tools in the toolbox, but there are 13 in total.
Physical activity, healthy eating, weight management, and medications. And those are the 4 that we tend to hear about most often across multiple platforms. However, in our community workshops, we have a number of additional critical tools which we sometimes take for granted. These are sleep, using your mind, breathing techniques, understanding emotions, communication, and working with healthcare professionals, which is expressed in the acronym PART, which are prepare, ask, repeat, and take action.
Now, 2 of the successful participants out of the 47, Clement Callender and Joan Bascom, gave testimonies about their journey.
I have gained valuable information which I was able to share with others. Ideas were exchanged and knowledge was imparted. I learned the importance of making action plans. They helped me to progress slowly and gradually. For example, exercising on my elliptical machine for 3 days a week for 20 minutes with a confidence level of 8 helped me to improve greatly.
My appreciation and thanks to the coordinator, Annette Clark, and the presenters, Marian Burnham and Andrea Griffith. They did a very excellent job in presenting the program. It was very informative and educational and very helpful. All the information was explained very well by these 2 ladies as they encourage us, the participants, to practice what we learned in each session. I gained a lot more information to continue on my journey in managing my illness.
The National Conservation Commission, NCC, will launch a site clearing special from today to assist people with clearing overgrown lots ahead of the 2023 hurricane season. General Manager Ryan Alls tells CBC News the NCC gets a lot of calls from the Ministry of Health and concerned citizens about what is termed as nuisance lots across the island. He says this initiative allows landowners to have their plots cleaned and the material taken away.
We also encounter a lot of lots in areas where it's overgrown. There are persons throwing garbage, persons throwing sheets of metal, stuff like that. And obviously that becomes a nuisance to the persons that are living in the area, as well as it becomes a problem during hurricane season with flying debris, etc. And every year we look to do a drive to clean up ahead of the hurricane season. And we also do a cleanup just before Christmas too. So we just put it out there to the public that yes, it is affordable. You can have it done properly and you do not have to create a nuisance for your neighbors.
Guyana's partnership with the European Union over the last 50 years has seen development cooperation worth $100 billion. However, the advent of the oil and gas sector has seen a wave of new interest from rich countries looking to partner with Guyana. President Irfan Ali has indicated new partnerships will not be at the expense of stable ones like the EU.
Guyana values tremendously all our friends, especially those who share common values and principles like democracy, freedom, and upliftment of people. But more importantly, we are not unaware of those who supported our development and those who stood by us under very difficult circumstances. The European Union, as the ambassador said, has invested tremendously in Guyana, in building our infrastructure, securing our sea defenses. For a matter of fact, for a very long time, they were our signature partner on sea defenses projects.
As new partners seek to establish ties with Guyana, owing to the potential that comes from having a prolific oil and gas sector, the EU ambassador to Guyana was keen to place on record all the EU has done for Guyana.
Last year we celebrated 50 years of EU cooperation in Guyana, and I asked my staff to find out how much money did we actually spend in those 50 years. Simple question. Well, that was actually a very difficult question, and it required them to go into the dungeons of the Commission buildings in Brussels, but they produced a figure. The EU has spent over that period €500 million. That is more than 100 billion Guyanese dollars. Guyana has many new friends now, but we are proud that the European Union was also here when Guyana was less fortunate and needed all the support it could get.
The Bahamas may have to consider introducing DNA testing to confirm a child's paternity to prevent fraud. Immigration Minister Keith Bell was reacting to a Privy Council ruling that children born out of wedlock to foreign women and a Bahamian man is a citizen at birth. We hear more from our news.
Bell says the major issue will be those individuals seeking citizenship with an affidavit, as was the case in the recent Privy Council case.
So it raises fundamental questions as to what would be our requirement in respect to, in instances where persons are born in the Bahamas and they are seeking to be registered as Bahamians on the strength of an affidavit. Obviously, the Office of the Attorney General, I have asked their advice on it. We have asked collectively, and the Office of the Attorney General is reviewing the law and determining what would be the best way ahead. But obviously, it appears that we may need to consider seriously DNA testing.
Following the ruling, many calling it discrimination, as women can still not pass on their citizenship. But it seems National Security Minister Wayne Munro is of a different view.
The article says if either of your parent. So there's no discrimination there. If you are male and it's your child and it's born in the Bahamas, the child is a Bahamian. If you're female and the child is born in the Bahamas, the child is a Bahamian. The only time where you come to discriminatory behavior is outside of the country.
Meanwhile, a world first for Bermudian Gray Robinson, who has co-founded the most environmentally sustainable and high-performance wetsuit on the market. With his brand Mahulu, he is hoping to shift mindsets and move society away from oil-based wetsuits production with a new technology derived from seashells. Bermuda Broadcasting has more.
Made for people, made for the planet is the mantra of Mahulu, a technical water sport clothing retailer founded by Bermudian Gray Robinson. As the owner of an international brand of kitesurfing schools, Mr. Robinson is no stranger to wetsuits. Dismayed by the negative environmental impact of petroleum-based neoprene, which currently dominates the wetsuit market, he set out to find an alternative.
The one thing surfers, kite surfers, water sports enthusiasts want when they go out into the elements is to be connected with their discipline of sport. But when you put on a petroleum-based wetsuit, I feel there's a disconnection between the nature that we're going to enjoy and the product that we have to wear.
Mr. Robinson said it took breaking his legs to discover the innovative technology that would later revolutionize the wetsuit market. After suffering a fall in Spain, he was wheelchair-bound for nearly a year, spending the time wisely to research. Here he discovered a factory in Taiwan that now creates the biofoam for the brand's wetsuits out of seashells.
Sourcing the biofoam in Taiwan didn't mean to have a wetsuit built. It just meant to have rolls of a new technology, which is calcium carbonate, which we extract from oyster shells, recycled from the food industry in China. So we're recycling another industry's byproduct. Extract the calcium carbonate, bake it in ovens to polymerize the calcium carbonate into a high-performance rubber. We then ship the biofoam to our factory, and we make wetsuits with the highest level application processes.
Let's take a look at today's weather now as we prepare for today, Monday. The barometric pressure stands at 1015.4 millibars. It's 26.6 degrees Celsius outside. Humidity is at 80%, and the winds are blowing out of the east at 21 kilometers per hour. The general conditions outside fair. Sea conditions today expected to be moderate in open water with swells peaking at 2 meters and steady. And a look at your tides for today. Forecast for today, a mix of sunshine and clouds with a few brief, isolated light showers. And into the evening, it's going to be a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief, isolated light showers as well. And that is the morning report. Do join us at 12 noon for an update of news during Newsday, or join our radio services for The World at 1 at 1 p.m. Morning Barbados is next.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning to you. It's Monday, May 15th. Good to have you in company on this wonderful Monday morning. I'm Tisha Hines, and I'll be here with you until 8 o'clock this morning. It's a nice bright day outside. We had a great forecast already for this morning. It says it's going to be nice and warm outside. Maybe the possibility of a few showers will keep you updated as the morning goes by, so you know exactly what to expect. If you're getting ready to head out of the door, thank you so much for still tuning in, turning on so that you can be with us. I want to say a special good morning to those of you who make sure that you tune in to Morning Barbados every single day. Now we're going to hear all about what's been happening all throughout the weekend and what's planned this week, and there are a lot of things happening. We're still in the season of emancipation, so we're telling you all about what is happening with that. Plus, CBC is festival ready, so we started with one of our very first Soulcaholic approved events just last week. We're going to tell you about that as well. We're the 98.1 family headed over to Flash Zone. You're going to get to find out a whole lot more about that. Now, on today's show, we have lots planned for you, so let me run through what you can expect. And if you can't catch it live, because we understand that you have to head out to work, the kids have to go off to school, if you're not retired or if you're not on vacation or what have you. But we also stream online, so you can catch it on YouTube. You can go back and watch what's coming up, or you can catch Morning Barbados on Facebook. So make sure that you follow us online as well for all the relevant updates of news and so on. Go to CBC News. That's all you need to do. Search it and you will find us. Now, the Diabetes and Hypertension Association of Barbados, they are going to be in to talk about World Hypertension Day 2023. And they're having a big campaign launch. Earlier in the news, we told you about what's happening through PAHO, where they're offering a course that you can take to help you manage your hypertension a whole lot more. We're going to tell you about that some more, but we're going to also delve into exactly what's happening, what will unfold, how they will look at May 17th, which is World Hypertension Day. It will be observed under the theme, Measure Your Blood Pressure, Control It, Live Longer. Trudy Griffith, President and Trustee of the Barbados Diabetes and Hypertension Association of Barbados. She will be here to talk to us more on that. And I know there are a lot of people who should pay interest to that. People say the pressure is a little high, you know, and you don't necessarily pay as much attention as you should. We want to speak especially to the ladies, because I know a lot of women, you know, they think they're controlling it with the medication, but we most certainly have to get out so that we can take care of ourselves and our families, especially coming out of Mother's Day yesterday. We often, because we're the nurturers, take care of everybody else but ourselves. You know, they say that about the gentlemen, but we can't take care of them unless we take care of ourselves. So we're going to talk about that too. Plus, you know, we have a segment called The Next Chapter, where we kind of delve into some books and share with you. Zoanne Evans is going to be here to talk about Memory and Landscapes, the works of 4 early 20th century Barbadians. That is going to be very, very interesting. It's always great to look back at our history and heritage and find out a little bit more. Plus, a favorite segment of yours, Life, Love and Hope, with Dr. Denise Charles. Today we're looking at handling competitiveness in relationships, and that's a truly real thing. So she, the expert, will delve in and help us look at how we can deal with that. Plus, there's a big fundraiser coming up. Alvin Jemmett will be in to tell us all about his brother, Basil Jemmett, and what that will entail, how you can contribute and why you should contribute. So that's all today on Morning Barbados. Plus, we are going to talk a little bit about last night's Beige to the World finale. Were you up for that? Ooh, it went on a little late, especially for people who have to rise early like us. But what a show it was. So we definitely will be looking at that as well. All right, we are telling you this morning also about the Barbados Association of Endometriosis and PCOS. Julia Manderville, chair of the board of the Barbados Association of Endometriosis and PCOS. She is joining us this morning. Hopefully we're going to get some other ladies in on this call, but we're going to start with you, Julia Manderville, to tell us all about the association and what you have coming up. Good morning.
Good morning, Tisha. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I am good. No complaints here. I did catch Beige to the World last night, by the way. It was amazing.
Oh, thank you so very much. We definitely will be talking about that. I think that was the general feedback from everybody. People were just, particularly people who didn't follow closely throughout the season, they were just blown away at how talented these young Barbadians are.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so let's start at the very beginning, because often we start talking about these titles, or, you know, we talk about organizations, but people in the back are saying, you know, what is it? What's endometriosis? What's PCOS? And when was this organization started? So let's start at the foundation.
Okay, so we only have a little bit of time, so I'm going to try to summarize it. So let's start with your first question. What is endometriosis? Endometriosis is defined as a condition where cells similar to those that line the uterus are found elsewhere in the body. And so with endometriosis, what happens is your body can have an inflammatory response, which can trigger pain, which is typically the most common symptom. But endometriosis is also associated with infertility. So about 50% of persons with infertility have been diagnosed with endometriosis, and it's also been associated with severe disruptions, productivity loss, financial burden. Because it's a chronic condition, there is no known cure, and at this point, there's no exact clear reason as to why it occurs. And it typically affects women and girls, or people that were assigned female at birth. And currently, how it stands is that estimates say that around 10%, or 190 million women worldwide, have endometriosis. And so the event we are having on Wednesday the 17th is to raise further awareness about that condition. Our organization started officially in 2016. I got my diagnosis with endometriosis in 2014. And at the same time, I was doing my master's in public health. And I thought, because there was so little awareness about the condition, I wanted to utilize the theory and practice from my master's to raise awareness and community and conduct community outreach for endometriosis, because it is very debilitating and it can be very life altering. Our organization also has individuals who have polycystic ovary syndrome, and I can go into that a little later if needed.
I know that there are quite a few offshoots that go along with it as well. But, you know, I am intrigued by you saying that you were doing your master's in public health at a time where you got a diagnosis, and then you were able to kind of apply what you were learning in both directions, I would imagine. So talk to us about how that influenced your view of what you were doing at that time and your studies before we delve more into what's coming up on the 17th and the movie.
Sure, no problem. And so I actually have a background in biology and microbiology. That was what my undergrad degree was in. And I was really thinking I was going to go into communicable disease control. But my master's program really did focus on non-communicable diseases. And so a lot of the interventions and a lot of the frameworks that I was being taught after I got my diagnosis with endometriosis, I recognized that they could be applied to this because, again, whilst it typically affects women and girls, it is still a chronic condition because once you have endometriosis, you have endometriosis. Like I said, there's no cure. And so I found out while doing more research on endometriosis that it was historically characterized as a condition that only affected non-Hispanic white women, which I thought was a bit strange considering that is not how I identify, and that's not how a lot of people in Barbados identify. But we know that there are several people in Barbados and across the Caribbean that have endometriosis. And so as I started to delve deeper, I recognized that there were some gaps in the research, gaps in the knowledge, and that's really what spurred me on. And so I'm actually right now also doing my PhD in public health, focusing on women's health with an acute focus on endometriosis, uterine fibroids, and PCOS, more or less looking at these conditions that typically affect women but don't have a great public health interest at this point in time.
Wow, Julie, I can talk to you about that forever. We definitely have to delve into it, but there's a movie that we want to get into. It's called Below the Belt. So tell me more about that and how you guys are becoming involved with it and why we should come out and see this movie.
Awesome, great. And so Below the Belt was a film that was executively produced and directed by Miss Shannon Cohen. I was hoping that she would have been on this morning, but I just want to let everyone know that she is a wonderful advocate for endometriosis awareness. She was a lawyer, but then she segued into endometriosis advocacy and documenting the impact of endometriosis after she got her diagnosis and recognized that there were a lot of people, similarly to myself and her, that weren't being heard or were receiving delayed diagnosis. And so she executive produced the bill. Oh, hi, Shannon. Shannon is here, actually.
Okay.
So I don't know if we can...
Yeah,
so
okay,
I'll
you continue and then we'll involve her in the conversation.
Sure, no problem. And so she executively produced this film. It premiered last year, Within New York, it was also executively produced by former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. There's also Rosario Dawson is also one of the executive producers. And we also have bipartisan support across the U.S. with both Senator Mitt Romney and Senator Elizabeth Warren really coming behind and putting their support behind this film as it raises awareness for endometriosis. So within the film, you follow 4 individuals who are navigating these mysterious symptoms, and then they find out that they have endometriosis, and then what their individual lives look like. So you have parts where there's an intersection with everyone's life, and then there are parts that are very distinct with these individual ladies' lives. But it's really powerful. It has been screened worldwide, and the Barbados Association of Endometriosis and PCOS is just very honored that we are the first organization to screen it within the Caribbean. And it's being screened at the Barbados Museum and Historical Society. We have several people in our panel discussion, and so these are experts in their own rights. And so we just want people to more or less come out, take the film in and listen to the panel discussion. And we are very grateful that we were able to partner with the UNFPA Sub-Regional Office for the Caribbean. We've partnered with them before. And we're just also very thankful for the support of our sponsors, particularly BTMI, Bioconnect Medical Center, and a whole host of them that we saw at the bottom there. But just a lot of support. Free of cost. Registration is necessary, however, and so we just want to just keep raising awareness within the country.
So relevant. Even just talking about women's health can be a real taboo issue for a lot of people. So it's wonderful that you're leading the charge on this, and with Ms. Shannon Cohen. We definitely will be speaking with her in just a little bit, but we're going to show you a taste of what you can expect with this movie called Below the Belt.
I knew something was weird. I knew something was wrong.
It took me 10 doctors to find someone that believed my pain.
I thought maybe I'm dying or I have some kind of rare disease. Then I go online and find that millions of women are going through exactly what I'm going through.
For those of you who don't know what endometriosis is,
1 out of every 10 women suffer from it.
The disease is a largely ignored aspect in women's health care.
Don't exactly trust her telling me that everything's fine.
It's surreal that you get better information from a Facebook group than you do actual doctors.
The idea that women's pain is less relevant, less important, is not acceptable.
The system will be changed within. The revolution will come within.
I'm nervous.
Better diagnosis, better treatment.
If we don't say we're not going to live like this anymore, we're not going to accept this anymore, no one's going to do it for us. It's up to us to make the change.
Definitely something that we want to see. Let's go ahead and welcome Shannon Cohen, producer and director of the film Below the Belt, into the conversation. Good morning. We say in Barbados, better late than never, so it's good to have you with us.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
All right. So I know that 1 in 9 women is affected by endometriosis or PCOS. And I mean, if we talk about other conditions of women, I know that number will significantly go up. So I don't have to ask you why you felt the need to do this movie. Talk to us then generally about what it was like to get these women to share their stories, because there's so many of us who are kind of silenced, and we're so reluctant to share our stories about personal health, especially when it comes to matters literally below the belt.
Of course. I bet so many of your viewers right now are also nodding like all of us because we know there are so many conditions that affect many of us that we don't want to talk about, no matter who we are. And endometriosis is part of that. And like you said, it affects 1 in 9 girls, women, and gender expansive individuals. And, it has such a huge impact on every facet of their lives. How I got them to share this, it was It's hard to share, something when it's something so vulnerable. But over a number of years, because we did follow these people over a number of years, we established a trust that we were going to share a true and authentic story of their lives and share it widely so that more people understand this condition and conditions like it that are shrouded in taboo. And they also understood that by sharing their stories, it could go to change, it could go to change the narrative and the way we talk about these conditions so that people can get, earlier diagnosis and better treatment. And that's the ultimate goal.
For sure. All right. Well, let's reinforce how we can be a part of this movie. We had Julia telling us all about the support that's being offered outside of Barbados. Now let's bring it home here and hopefully continue down the region as we engage with women all across this region. So how do we get involved?
So I will start, and I'm sure Shannon can also hop on and talk about how we can get involved globally. So again, at home, we are screening the film at the Barbados Museum and Historical Society Wednesday, 17th of May at 6 p.m. sharp. And we are hoping to have as many people as possible register. So again, you have to register. Whilst it's a free event, we just want to make sure that we are accounting for the numbers. And just come, sit down, watch, take it in, and, after the panel discussion, we can have a broader conversation about what types of, how it impacted you, because it's very impactful. I will say I watched it like 3 times already, and it still impacts me every single time. And so just let us know how it impacts you, and then just share with us your thoughts, whether or not you are a person with endometriosis, a person supporting a person with endometriosis, or if this is the very first time you even heard this word and heard about this condition, because we've also been hearing, I've never heard about this condition before, and people are living like this? How are people living like this? And so we understand that for a lot of people, it could come as a shock. And we want people to know, yes, people are living like this. And we want to, like Shannon said, change the narrative and improve outcomes. We want to improve outcomes towards early diagnosis. Unfortunately, there's a delayed diagnosis typically associated with endometriosis between 5 to 10 years typically, and in some areas it can be even longer. And so we know that earlier diagnosis typically leads to better outcomes. And so just overarching, we want increased awareness so that we can get earlier diagnosis and better interventions once that diagnosis has been reached. So all right. I can also
final word from you, Shannon. There's so many questions swirling in my head. We definitely have to continue this conversation.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's why we made the film, so that we can start this conversation in a meaningful way, so that we can change hearts and minds, and by extension, change the way people with endometriosis are treated and change the healthcare systems where they need it to be. It helps identify where maybe health systems could be failing people with endometriosis, but other conditions as well, so that then we can all work together to improve them.
Shannon Cohen, producer and director of the film Below the Belt, and Julia Mandeville, chair of the board, Barbados Association of Endometriosis and PCOS. Thank you so much for your time, ladies. We definitely will check in on that film and share more so that we can talk about outcomes and continue that conversation. Thank you for sharing.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Tisha.
All right, coming up on Morning Barbados, we're talking hypertension. You want to stay for this?
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Maxpack Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade, or come in and sign up for a new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
The Big Bajan Bake Off is back, and the top 5 have been selected. Tune in Fridays at 8:03 p.m. At 7 minutes to 7 o'clock, we are talking writers. Have you heard these names? W.S. Arthur, Hilton Vaughn, Carl Seeley, or A.N. Ford? Well, if you haven't, Zoan Evans is going to tell us all about her book, which looks at those 4 early 20th century Barbadian writers. The book is called Memory and Landscapes. So good morning and welcome, Zoan.
Good morning. Thank you.
All right. Now tell me, first of all, what piqued your interest in kind of pulling the works of these 4 authors together?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of your statement.
Tell me what made you think about bringing the works of these 4 authors together.
Okay, so I was doing my doctoral thesis, and I wanted to do something on writers because I'm a writer myself, and I have a friend, Norma Meek, who is a local writer, and she had extensive research on William Seymour Arthur, writers featured in the book. And she said, well, why not write on Arthur? So the idea, but I wanted to also feature other writers from the in discussing with my colleagues. I found out about A.N. Ford and Carl Seeley and Hilton Vaughn, and I had read Hilton Vaughn's work before. I subsequently realized that I already knew some of the works of Carl Seeley and A.N. Ford because we had done them at school, but you had never. Orange is edited by A.N. Ford, for example, told who these writers were, and so I wanted to explore more about them, who they were, and what they had done for Caribbean and. So that was my journey in a nutshell.
Oh, wow. All right. We're having, a bit of a technical glitches coming through with you. So most certainly we hope that we're able to boost that Wi-Fi. I think we're going to have to start a conversation on getting the data that we pay for. So we're going to talk about that further. But back to the books. Usually authors who do non-fictional works in this part of the region, you hear a lot of it kind of linked to academia. So tell us how you were able to kind of summarize all of what was happening with these early authors and bring it together in this book. What was the process like?
So it involved interviewing local writers. I actually had a very ambitious plan. I wanted to interview all the local writers that I could find. So I went out and I interviewed people like Naila. I spoke to Naila Emoji Fulami. I spoke to Linda Dean and Rob. I spoke to Cynthia Wilson, and I actually visited the home of Frank Collymore. He's very instrumental in the success of early Barbadian writers and like grandfather of our literary journey. But my specific journey involved interviewing a lot of local writers, and I was told it was too ambitious and to narrow it down because I didn't just want to include the 4 that I eventually wrote about, but I wanted to talk about, give each writer that I knew of. Sandra Seeley was another one. I wanted to give them all exposure, but I had to narrow it down, and I do make mention of some of them in this. It called for a lot of editing the work and the result is memory and landscapes.
All right, you talk very specifically in the book about how their works influence very specific things. Talk to us about that.
Okay, so their work was very, their work was seminal. They were the precursors to early Barbadian / West Indian writing, what we know and sometimes take for granted as West Indian writing, because they were writing at a period when, for example, only books coming out of Great Britain, were thought to be of any worth. So writers were not taken seriously. Local writers were not taken seriously. And Barbadians knew about snow, they knew about English apples, and that was not really belonging to the West Indies per se. So they were among the first to talking about the hibiscus and sugarcane and coconut trees and village standpipe and, you know, the buses, the local buses. And so they brought to the table intrinsically West Indian, and being Barbadians, there were a lot of elements that the average Barbadian could relate to. So their gift to Barbados and to Barbadian and / West Indian writing was the gift of an identity to call our own. So they were up against the oligarchs of the period, because Barbados at the time would have been very different. It would have been colonial. Our flag would have been the British flag. Our values were very much in allegiance to England. And how dare you step out and try to do something that did not, conform to those standards. Well, their standards were very high, but how dare you come out and write something that was not in line with what they normally did? So they received a lot of pushback from Black middle class Barbadians and the white oligarchs of Barbados. People, those set of people were not very keen on the works of these early writers. So they fought against a lot, and so did Frank Collymore in his defense of writers such as these, and Henry Swansea in England, in Great Britain, because this work was broadcast in Britain. Each of these writers, their work was broadcast in Great Britain.
Oh, wonderful. Tell us where we can find your work, where we can find this book. Definitely very, very interesting. Okay, so it is available on Amazon and in Kindle version on Amazon as well, and it is available at Ian Randall Publishers. And there's another source that I've forgotten where it's available is at Kindle, but certainly Amazon and Ian Randall Publishers. And you will be able to get it from UE Bookshop in a few weeks' time as well. And if you come to the book launch, I put an invitation up on Facebook. I should probably make it public, but and we only have limited space anyway. But you should be able to get it at UE Bookshop and at the book launch on May 19th at 5 o'clock at UE. We will remind everybody, and do go ahead and make it public, so that we can get, more people coming in and finding about it. Memory and Landscapes, the works of 4 early 20th century Barbadian writers. Thank you so much, John Evans. Congratulations on your book. And we certainly will continue to share more on authors. Certainly seems like some work that we should look into and continue to share. Thank you for your time. Thank you. All right, it's time for us to give you an update on the news. Stay with us. The Big Bajan Bake Off is back, and the top 5 have been selected. Tune in Fridays at 8:03 p.m. to find out who will be crowned the best Bajan baker.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
Time now for an update of the news. Violence has increased in schools and the disciplinary measures are not working. That's the view of the president of the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, Marianne Redmond. Speaking on last evening's one-on-one current affairs program produced by the Public Affairs Department, Ms. Redmond says confrontations between teachers and parents isn't helping either.
Suspensions now mean nothing to children. A visit to the Edna Nichols Center they enjoy. There is no corporal punishment. Detentions mean nothing. And so there is a sense of impotence, I do believe, among so much of the teaching fraternity in relation to addressing disciplinary matters in school. Parents, too, in too many instances have taken a different approach where they come to the school premises to engage rather than in a negative way, rather than offer the type of support to the school and what the school is trying to do in relation to disciplining their children. So we have this confrontation now to too large an extent between parents and school authorities and teachers in relation to discipline. So in many instances, children feel that there are no consequences to their actions.
Now, as far as the upcoming reform of the education system is concerned, Ms. Redmond supports the plans and they cater to the needs of the students.
What they have planned in a meaningful way will help students to really be their best, to self-actualize. There is a new planned transition from primary to secondary. I think that is, I can say that because that is public knowledge. And the secondary system will be broken down into two levels: junior academy and academies of excellence. And that changed structure will allow students to have the type of exposure that they need to make the choices that they need further on best suited to their capabilities, to their intelligences, and to equip them for life after school.
Now, further afield, the two warring factions in Sudan are into another round of talks aimed at allowing humanitarian aid to get to those who need it.
This hospital in Chad's capital is where Hawa Musa comes to receive prenatal care. It's more than 2 hours away from her home, but it's her first pregnancy and she's been experiencing complications. And with her due date just weeks away, she fears for her life and that of her baby.
I've heard stories of women suffering during childbirth, and I've been getting irregular pains in my stomach, so I come to the hospital to get help because I don't want anything to happen to me.
Hawa says her fear is made worse by the fact that teenage pregnancy increases the chances of maternal mortality. She's only 14, and Chad has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world. More than 60% of its nearly 16 million population live below the poverty line. And while access to maternal health care is one of the few services that's offered for free, the rate of women losing their lives during childbirth has not reduced much over the past decade. More than 1,000 pregnant women out of every 100,000 in Chad are expected to die during childbirth or from related complications every year, according to health workers. Several other factors are attributed to the high number of deaths, including lack of enough health workers. Most of the fatalities are recorded in rural areas outside the capital, where access to healthcare is limited. Less than 25% of pregnant Chadian women have access to medically qualified personnel, and years of conflict in the country's north and east have limited the provision of health services in those regions. The United Nations also says that the country's literacy rate is contributing to the high death rate. 4 out of 5 women between 15 and 24 are illiterate, and health workers say that's affecting women's awareness regarding their health.
Women usually come to us in late stages of pregnancy, and by then they've developed multiple complications. It's because they usually come suffering from malnutrition, high blood pressure, and that's the least. It's sometimes worse. We tell women to come to us as soon as they know they're pregnant so we can give them the right care. But many are hesitant, so when they give birth, there are health risks, not only for them, but for the new babies that are born.
Hawa says she knows the risks she's facing and doesn't want to become another addition to the mortality statistics in Chad. She says she hopes to have a normal delivery, but fears that, at her age, the odds may be against her and her child.
The National Conservation Commission, NCC, will launch a site clearing special from today to assist people with clearing overgrown lots ahead of the 2023 hurricane season. General Manager Ryan Alls tells CBC News the NCC gets a lot of calls from the Ministry of Health and concerned citizens alike about what is termed as nuisance lots across the island. He says this initiative allows landowners to have their plots cleaned and the material taken away.
We also encounter a lot of lots in areas where it's overgrown. There are persons throwing garbage, persons throwing sheets of metal, stuff like that. And obviously that becomes a nuisance to the persons that are living in the area, as well as it becomes a problem during hurricane season with flying debris, etc. And every year we look to do a drive to clean up ahead of the hurricane season. And we also do a cleanup just before Christmas too. So we just put it out there to the public that yes, it is affordable. You can have it done properly and you do not have to create a nuisance for your neighbors.
And that's our update of news. More news at 12 noon on CBC TV8, and The World at 1 comes on our radio services at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Morning Barbados continues after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We are
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's 12 minutes after 7 o'clock. If you're lucky enough to be able to sleep in this morning, I so envy you. It's been a long, long weekend. We're going to tell you how. We're going to tell you what we were up to as well. Of course, like we said to you, the Socoholics got things going as we continue to be the home of festivals. You're going to see some big changes coming. And we, of course, here on Morning Barbados will continue to share with you all that's happening all across the country, all throughout this season of emancipation into crop over and the like. So keep on viewing for a whole lot more. Now, something that's very, very important to us because of the numbers of people that are affected by it. So whether you are affected directly or indirectly, I know that you have an interest in diabetes and hypertension. So this morning we have the Diabetes and Hypertension Association of Barbados talking to us about World Hypertension Day and the 2023 campaign that is coming up. Let's welcome Trudy Griffith, President and Trustee of the Diabetes and Hypertension Association of Barbados. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Tisha. How are you?
Doing well. I could do with a little sleep. You know, I might need some toothpicks to prop the eyes up.
I certainly understand that.
But I'm okay. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Oh, it's so good to have you with us. We don't often talk about diabetes and hypertension in a way that people are kind of interested. I think we flog it so much that people are like, oh, are we talking about this again? So I really like the theme going into this year's campaign or this year's observance, because it kind of just hammers the point home, no beating around the bush. So talk to us a little bit about May 17th, World Hypertension Day, and how your organization is working to get the message out.
Okay, so this year, as we observe World Hypertension Day, which is on Wednesday, May 17th, we are really trying to turn the tide on what is happening with hypertension in Barbados. If you recall, the association did add hypertension to its mandate 3 years ago. And what we recognize is that many Barbadians have been affected by hypertension, but we want to turn that narrative. We don't want persons, when they hear about diabetes and hypertension, that they get despondent. So that's why I'm wearing orange, because I want persons to be optimistic about it. Take control. If you don't know what your status is, whether you have hypertension or not, it is time to go and get your blood pressure measured. Not only that, but if you already know that you have been diagnosed with hypertension, it is time to take control. And that is critically important. Obviously, time and time again, we hear persons talking about control your blood pressure, make the changes necessary. But this year, we want to do that in a very practical way. So we want persons, if you're going to work, if you're going to school, if you're conducting errands on Wednesday, we want you to wear sneakers. We want to encourage persons to really think about engaging in physical activity and integrate it into every element of your life.
Oh, I absolutely love that. If you're heading out to work, wear sneakers. You know, that's a great initiative. I must be honest though, for me, I've often thought about walking and going places and this and that. You have to be really purposeful in your drive to do that around Barbados, because some of the times there's not enough sidewalks and stuff like that. Not excuses.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not making excuses, but you absolutely have to make sure you plan that route and, you know, really get on it, because it can make a big difference. You know, just getting in that 30 minutes of exercise. And it need not be just a leisurely walk. A lot of people walk and they're on their phones, or they're walking and, you know, it's like they're chatting with each other. That's okay too. But, you know, you want to get the little heart rate up. So, you know, just a nice brisk walk is absolutely what can work. I love that initiative. What does it plan to be able to take to be able to plan for observances like this that really are at the core of what you do at the Hypertension and Diabetes Association?
It's really quite involved, because we have a team of executive officers and we have volunteers as well as staff within our organization, and it requires a lot of coordination. But we wanted to make this year's campaign as simple as we possibly could. We've put the message out there on our digital platforms, but we want persons to truly embrace this. This is not intended to be a culmination or the single event for World Hypertension Day. We want this to be transformative. We want this to become an integral part of your life. And I challenged myself this year in terms of how I was going to integrate physical activity into my life in a greater way. And what that required me to do was to get up at 4 o'clock on mornings and walk for half an hour. Now, my life is not the same as everyone else's, but certainly take a look at your day and see how you're going to integrate that activity into your life. It may not look like every morning that you get up and engage in physical activity, but where do you have a time slot or multiple time slots in your day or in your week that you can get in physical activity? If you need to break it down into 10 minutes 3 times a day, if you walk on Friday evenings because at least you know there are no other competing commitments and the next day is a day where you can wake up later and have a slower schedule, do that. But really and truly, we want persons to embrace physical activity as much as possible. It's not just about hypertension. It improves your mood. It improves your diet. It improves your health overall. Your quality of life is so positively impacted when you engage in physical activity. Really and truly, there's no cons about it.
It's true, and I can speak to that firsthand. This is just the boost that I need to get back out there. Absolutely, I'm so serious, Trudy, and everything you said is true. We make a lot of excuses. That's it. What it calls for busy people, particularly, is to schedule it, but there are 24 hours in a day, and we find time for all types of things. So we definitely should find some time for ourselves as well, because like you said, exercise increases your mood and all of that other wonderful stuff. So, it's something for you. I really love the idea of this sneaker initiative for people like me who love high heel shoes.
Yes.
Another story. But I definitely, like to get out and get the exercise on. So get out, put on your sneakers, get active. And it's always great to have like-minded people around. So the people who are encouraging you to eat poorly and go and buy some cake in the middle of the day, every day, you might need to put them on the back burner for a minute. Final words that you would love to share as you go into this observance on May 17th about your organization and how you're going to continue to share the word across Barbados on these two NCDs that are so affecting us in such, a major way.
Okay, so while we want persons to engage in physical activity, and Tisha, let me share with you that as long as you put on sneakers, you are going to find yourself being more empowered. You're going to find yourself actually wanting to walk, because you have to walk intentionally in heels. But when you walk in sneakers, you just walk. So you will see over my right shoulder, but on your screen it will be to your left. I actually have some promotional material for a program that we have, which is the Chronic Disease Self-Management Program. We have the acronym CDSMP. And really and truly, when we talk about chronic diseases, we tend to focus more on the physical elements in terms of taking medication, diet, nutrition, etc. But something you said earlier, Tisha, sleep. Sleep is critical, and getting quality sleep is critical in terms of managing your chronic disease. So if you enroll in this 6-week program, and it's absolutely free of cost to all Barbadians, then you will gain 13 tools that you can utilize, that you can apply to your life, that you can share with friends, family, and co-workers, not just for chronic diseases, but really and truly to enhance your quality of life. So I want everyone to reach out to us, because at the end of the day, it's really truly about transforming the health of Barbados, because there's so many benefits that we will gain, not just from a physical perspective, but across all of the entire dimensions as it relates to Barbados and our economy.
Wow, and that's a very interesting perspective. A lot of people do not think about the impact that, health or chronic diseases can have on our healthcare system. And the reality is the majority of money that's being spent is being spent on treatment of these NCDs. So we definitely have to, as we were saying, Bajan parlance, take stock. It's that kind of time. I want to thank you so much, Trudy Griffith, President and Trustee of the Diabetes and Hypertension Association of Barbados. I put Barbados the wrong place.
Yes.
All right, so
that's
thank you for sharing.
Barbados first.
Yes, and I wish you all the best for that observance. What we're going to do is we're going to challenge our viewers to do it. And on that day, I most certainly will wear my sneakers so that I can walk easily and not have to walk purposefully. All right, you have a good one. All right, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we are talking to Dr. Denise Charles. We're talking about competitiveness in relationships. Are you competing with your partner? How can you get past it? Or can you? That's next.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Dr. Denise Charles, always a wonderful face to see in the morning, most certainly on a Monday morning when you're thinking about what's going to be happening. All throughout the week, she comes through to set the tone for what you will be dealing with in the week ahead. And some of these things we don't even know we're dealing with. They're just happening. So let's go right ahead and say good morning and welcome. Always great to see you, Dr. Charles. And most certainly in this area, you know, it's great to have some expert advice. So like I said, there's a lot of competitiveness going on in relationships, and sometimes we don't even know or acknowledge that there's competitiveness going on, and it really can impact your relationship. So let's talk to the audience first of all about this level of competitiveness that goes beyond just being, you know, kind of fair game in a relationship, because, you know, a level of competitiveness, I would say, is good. But then when does it get to the point where it can be toxic?
Thank you and good morning, Tisha. Well, you know, when it's all fun and games and it's lighthearted and you're kind of making sport with your spouse or your partner, that's okay. You know, sometimes we like to play these games and it's light, it's fun. It's not anything that we're taking too seriously, and that is all well and good. But when it is something that is deep-rooted and it becomes toxic, or as you said at the beginning, we don't even recognize that what is the issue, that the issue is really competitiveness. I think that it can really be destructive to a relationship. So let's set the stage. I think that sometimes in a relationship, we can find that there's a certain amount of tension going on. You know, you are going about your daily tasks, your partner is going about his or her daily tasks, and you find that you're always bouncing off each other in a negative way. So it's like you're trying to see who is better at a particular thing. You are trying to see who can come out on top with respect to a particular thing, and you're not necessarily recognizing that that behavior is a source of tension. And I think we need to explore really what is behind this behavior. What is causing you to feel this need to compete with your partner? Why is it that you have to try to win when it comes to your relationship? Because if we go back, we know that we grow up and in school, we tend to compete with our colleagues in class because we want to come out on top. We want to get the most in a particular test. We want to be the top student, if we care about that type of thing, that is. We may be competing on the field of play. in a game, in a game of sport. It may be an intrinsic part of our life because of the kinds of activities that we're involved in at an extracurricular level. So competition isn't something that is necessarily negative. It is something that we're very familiar with. The idea of being the best, even if you're going for a job interview, Tisha, you want to be the best because you want to win, you want to get the job. So there is a certain healthy element to competition. But when you get into a relationship and you are seeing your partner as that person you have to win against, then you have to explore why you're feeling this way. There may be some level of resentment somewhere, some level of envy about your partner's skills or about your partner's competencies, and you are feeling insecure, you're feeling inferior, and as a result, you are competing against him or her to win. And if you don't understand where it is coming from, as you said, it can become extremely toxic and extremely destructive, because a relationship really should be a partnership. You should be on the same page. As my husband and I like to say, you're rowing in a boat together. That ship, that relationship, you're relating in a figurative ship. You are going in the same direction. That should be the nexus of a relationship, not competing to see who comes out on top.
Wow, no, those are some very serious words, especially when it comes to relationships. Jealousy and envy. That's crazy. So how can couples effectively communicate these feelings that they might be experiencing? So how do you say to your partner, I'm feeling jealous, of all of your success. I'm feeling envious. I feel like I'm not coming up. I feel like, you're going past me. I feel like I need to do better than you. How do you communicate that to a partner without totally imploding your relationship?
If they're realistic, Tisha, you probably wouldn't say it. And that's the thing about it, because it is an uncomfortable feeling to have. And I'm sure if you do recognize that you have it, you're probably going to feel very ashamed of yourself for having it in the first place. So it's probably not something that you're going to say. It may be something that your partner recognizes, however, and he or she may bring it up. They may say to you, well, it seems as if you seem to be, competing against me, or you think that you have to win, or you think that you have to be better than I am in a particular area. And they may want to address it because they are feeling the threat of the competitiveness. It becomes very interesting and dangerous and destructive when it is not even languaged. It is not something that is recognized. It is not articulated. Y'all don't bring it to the table because it is sort of under the radar, and that is when it is really dangerous. But if you are the type, I always talk a lot about being some person who engages in reflection. If you're a reflective individual or you reflect as a couple, then there is a better chance of it perhaps coming up at some point. You may not even label it as competition, but you may talk of feeling a certain tension in the relationship, of feeling a certain strain, as if you're not on the same team. That is how you may language it. That sounds a little better, you may say it like that, but then what is really behind it is competition. So even if you don't language it with the word competition or competitiveness, but you're able to unearth the fact that there is this tension in the relationship and that you do feel a certain level of disconnection, you don't feel as if you're rowing together in the boat going in the same direction, then I think that you're opening the door for a deeper discussion about what is causing that tension. And eventually you may get to the truth, the fact that there is a certain level of competition going on and where the source of it is coming from. The fact that someone is feeling insecure, unfulfilled. And, I always say that a lot of relationship attitudes go right back to our childhood, right back to our adolescence, when we may not have felt affirmed. Maybe the parents in our lives or whoever was in our life at the time did not validate us, did not make us feel that as though we were worthwhile, or that we had value, or that we were accomplishing things. And as a result, we go through life really in all of our relationships thinking that we have an invisible audience really, and we are competing always to be on top. And it may spew into your work collegial relationships. It may spew into relationships with people at church. You're on the worship team and you have to be the best. It can spew into any area of your life really, and it is something that you need to hold in check. But certainly in an intimate partner relationship or in marriage, you don't want to be competing with your spouse. So it calls for a lot of introspection, a lot of reflection, a lot of honesty. And if you do recognize that this is where you're headed or where you've been living in your mind and in your spirit, then it is something that you really need to deal with.
All right, so curveball though, is it always the person who is successful who the person who is not as successful, who might be experiencing these feelings? Or sometimes can it be the one who is successful feeling like, I need to stay, you know, I need to stay ahead, because that person who is playing catch up, I mean, they can really be struggling. If you have a partner who is in a position that, you know, they're so competitive with you that they're like, you can never catch up to me. You know, even thinking about it is so crazy.
Yeah, you have that right, Tisha. It may not always be the person who seems to be below. It may be actually the person who's succeeding, and the type A personality, you know, the great achiever, the person who always wants to win. It may be that person who is really competing. It may not be the person who seems not to be accomplishing as much. So anyone really can have that experience of being competitive and wanting to win, or wanting to surpass and surmount the other person. But I think what is most critical is that we look at, if I could put it this way, competing with ourselves. You know, look at your most recent accomplishment, or the goal that you have established, or the goals you've established for yourself, and set timelines for meeting those goals. Seek to do better next time. If you did a job interview and you didn't like how you performed, seek to do better at the next interview. If there was some goal, maybe you set a target for losing weight and you've been going to the gym, but your going has not been consistent, and as a result you're not losing the type of weight that you want, or you're not gaining the type of muscle that you want. Set targets for yourself and seek to win against yourself. You understand? Seek to be better at everything that you're doing the next time around, and set achievable targets that you can look back on and say, well, yes, I did accomplish this, I did accomplish that. And I think if you begin to do this with yourself and you set targets for yourself, there'll be a lot less need for you to compete with the next person.
Well, absolutely. Now you have an event that we absolutely have to be a part of. It's coming up on June 10th at the Hilton Barbados, and it's called Strong Love, The Journey.
Yep. A very exciting event, Tisha, and we've been getting a lot of responses from people who've been asking us, is this only for married couples? No, this is a celebration of love, and everybody is interested in finding out more about love. So this is going to be a night of what we like to call edutainment. You know, there's going to be education. You're going to learn a lot about love and relationships, but you're also going to be so pleasantly entertained by those who will be having performing on the evening. So it's really going to be an exciting night. We're inviting all to come along. Obviously, we want couples, married and unmarried couples, to be there, because you're going to be very interested in finding out how you can improve your own relationship. We'll be sharing about our own relationship, and we'll obviously be also including some other lead couples that we're going to have on the night, where they'll be talking as well about their relationship. So this is really an exciting opportunity, Tisha, a chance for you to renew your vows, because we'll be leading a vows renewal for those who are married. For those who are unmarried and you're really serious in your relationship, perhaps you're at that premarital stage, you're thinking about marriage, or you're engaged, we'll also be leading you in a commitment pledge. This is all voluntary. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but certainly we want to invite you into our space. We're going to be having some wonderful performances by Nikita, John Yard, Maya Daniel, Adrian Clark, Chrissy D. She's going to be in the building as well. You know, she just brought a very beautiful love song. So it's going to be a really exciting event, a time to come and embrace your partner, to be a part of the whole romantic ambiance that we'll be creating with Strong Love, The Journey. And most importantly, we will be launching our own love story, Tisha. I've been talking about this love story for quite a while, since I've been on Mornin Barbados. Journey to One, the love story of Gabriel and Denise J. Charles, myself and my husband. And I am sure we are perhaps breaking ground here, I think, as the first married couple in Barbados to have written our own love story. I don't think anyone else has done that. If I'm wrong, you can correct me. But certainly I think we're breaking fresh ground with this true, very true to life love story, the story of our life. And yeah, it's going to be really exciting. Just $70 for a wonderful evening. Yes, Tisha.
We certainly will share more about it. And, you know, a lot of people will want to get in there and hear more about it. So thank you, Dr. Charles, for coming through and sharing with us. Give us lots to think about today as we go through our day. Some of us, you know, we don't even know that we're competitive, but, you know, a little food for thought always helps. Look forward to seeing you next time, and we're going to talk some more about that event when you come on back.
Sure. Thank you, Tisha. Have a great day.
And you. All right, definitely some food for thought. Question, are you jealous of your partner? Are you so competitive that it can become toxic? Absolutely. Very, very interesting. Do some introspection today, and let's talk about that. Coming up, Alvin Jemmett is in to tell us all about a fundraiser, and we're talking about Beach to the World, the finale that took Barbados by storm last night. Yeah, that's all coming up next.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's 7:40, 20 minutes to 8 o'clock, 20 minutes to go before the 8 o'clock hour on your Morning Barbados presentation. I want to say a very special good morning to those of you who usually watch online, those across the diaspora who watch every single day religiously. And there's a Morning Barbados chat group. I don't check in as often as I should, but I'm going to make you guys a promise that I'll try to check in at least once a day. I know there's so many chat groups sometimes that we're involved with. It's so difficult to check everything. So I make that promise to you. I'll try to check in at least once a day. Now, we have a very important fundraiser to tell you about at this time. And I'm going to invite Alvin Jemmett to come on in so that he can share the story with us. It's heart-wrenching. It's a very touching story. And we're going to tell you why and how you should get involved. Good morning to you, Alvin.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you. Usually we see you talking about, hotel and tourism matters. Today we're on a totally different trajectory. So I'm just going to open to you and let you share your story.
Well, I'm still talking about hotel and tourism related matters. This time I'm speaking about my brother, Basil. Basil has been a tourism educator for over 25 years. And currently his situation is that basically he needs a heart replacement. He has been diagnosed with a condition called amyloidosis. And this really, putting it in simple terms, is when the body produces an unhealthy protein and it forms clusters. And in his case, these clusters are formed around his heart, causing it very difficult for him to breathe and damaging the heart as well. So after a lot of tests and diagnosis, the situation really is that Basil needs to have a replacement heart. Everyone knows me from my tourism journey, but I tell you, Basil has been there for me throughout his entire life, and now it's my turn to fight for him.
All right, wow. It must be taxing on your family. You know, so you have a page set up. You also have a GoFundMe fundraiser page. So tell us a little bit more about that and how we can contribute.
Well, I've tried to do this as simple as possible, and therefore the website is simply basilgemmet.com. On the website, you'll find as much information as humanly possible about how you can contribute, about Basil's cause, and basically how you can get involved. The GoFundMe is setting up a replacement heart for Basil Gemmet, and you can find it there if you go straight to the GoFundMe, or you can make donations here at Republic Bank, and that account number is 09166270208, and you can do that at any branch of Republic Bank. The account is in his name, Basil Gemmet, and you can simply say you're donating towards the fundraising cause.
How much are we working toward?
Well, we're trying to raise in excess of $500,000 US to save my brother.
Yeah, that's a big sum. But when we start talking about a replacement heart, we would know that, you know, that is major. You know, talk to us about the impact it's having on him from moving to a position where I would imagine where you're active and, you know, feel alert and alive, to a position where you have this condition that took a while to be diagnosed, because based on what I've read, there wasn't an immediate diagnosis. So he probably had to work through it, go to a few doctors, had a whole set of tests done and so on. So what has it been like for him?
Well, Basil does not know how to feel sorry for himself. He's a fighter. And when he found out that his condition was this grave, you know, he reached out to the family. He summons everyone to a family meeting to give them the background. But he's in very good spirits, and he believed that he can overcome this. He's always believed that he could overcome adversity. And so he's not sounding or feeling pitiful. Basil is a fighter, and he believes that he will get over this.
All right. I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing with us, Alvin. I'll give you one final chance to, on this occasion, because we're going to speak with you again, and we will continue to share as well, to make your appeal to corporate Barbados, regular Barbadians alike, as to why we should, you know, help your brother Basil. I mean, it's always great to help your fellow Barbadians, but for me, most certainly as someone who doesn't know Basil, being completely honest with you, why I would donate is because I know you, and because, you know, I know the type of person that you are and how you've been, and, you know, I would want to help you to help your brother. So that's from me. But then, you know, talk to us about, from you and your relatives, you know, what it would mean to you for us to really contribute to this worthwhile and worthy cause.
There's a song that was written by RPB, who says that we got to know who our heroes are. And I tell you that even though Basil has been operating quietly in the background, he's been such a huge contributor to the tourism landscape of Barbados. Tourism has been and continues to be our driving source for economic progress. And anyone who has had a student that has come from the Hospitality Institute over the last 25 years, that student would have been influenced by Basil. He has been playing his part. He's been helping to teach, motivate, and direct the future of our tourism industry. And therefore, I step back and say, give this guy a chance. Help him.
Thank you so much, Alvin. And I certainly wish you the best. I hope we can reach that target. It is a big sum, but working together, we most certainly can make it. We have well over 280,000 people here in Barbados. And if we can get everybody to donate just $2, it's that simple.
You got it.
But
I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to all the institutions that are helping. I know that there's a plan for a Zoomathon, and that information will be shared through you and others. The Jean and Maria Holder Hospitality Institute, they are planning a fundraiser at the end of this month. It's going to be on the 27th of May, so listen out for that as well. But follow us. Go on the basilgemmet.com website and see the information there, see the updates, and please, I'm asking for your help. I need it.
Thank you so much, Alvin. The fundraiser, A Heart for Basil Gemmet, we will continue to share, and I wish you and your relatives, and especially your brother, the very best.
Thank you.
All right. It's 12 minutes to go before 8 o'clock. Ooh, I don't know. Did you take in Beige to the World last night? I was in the thick of things, and the guys came out on top. We're going to tell you who, if you haven't yet seen it. You know, we're going to tell you who the 3 guys are out of the 10 finalists who took positions 1, 2, and 3. Believe it or not, they are here. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The Big Bajan Bake Off is back, and the top 5 have been selected. Tune in Fridays at 8:03 p.m. to find out who will be crowned the best Bajan baker.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy,
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, did you get a chance to catch Beige to the World last night? The live final at the Wildy Gym. It's been weeks and weeks of competition. Just amazingly talented young people going head to head the last 2 weeks. Very developmental an initiative of the Community Development Department in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment. The curtain came down in a major way last night, and we have 3 guys who came out on top. The first 2 are here with us right now. Second position went to young Kaimani Devonish. That is third position went to Kaimani Devonish, and third position went to Shaquan Smith, and second position went to Kaimani Devonish. Listen, we all got home in the wee hours of this morning, so you understand, guys, why I am, teeter-tottering. But congratulations to the 2 of you. Let me start with you, Shaquan. How does it feel after all of this work that you've put in to be at this place?
It kind of feels, I want to say, amazing. Although last night I had a slight hiccup with the band and stuff, but I'm satisfied so far. That's all I can say.
Yeah, because we were wondering, I mean, for those of us who watch the show, you know, as television producer, I'm kind of behind the scenes and running around and screaming. We know how that goes. But, you know, I saw that there was something going on with you on stage, but it's commendable that you stuck it out.
I had to. I was trying to tell the gentleman what I couldn't hear, and that the band was playing the wrong thing, but he kept telling me to continue, so I had no choice but to continue.
Yeah, but with a voice like that, you know. When you heard your name, though, that you had taken the 3rd spot, you know, what were you thinking? What were you feeling?
I didn't even know what to feel. That's the truth. I don't know if to be excited or if to be sad about it.
We don't usually get a lot of excitement out of him anyway, right, Kaimani?
You know,
I know for you, you know, from the time you started, I saw the jig in you when your name came out, though. So tell me how you felt about hearing your name. When you were standing there, were you expecting to hear your name in the top 3?
Of course I was. I was excited. I did a great job. So I was expecting something.
For sure. Tell me about your preparation. How did you prepare for Beige to the World finals?
I feel like a busy man. A businessman. Because up and down, up and down, up and down, just trying to get everything right.
Yeah. What were the people in your camp telling you? I know you have a really strong support system in your mom and your aunt, and you know they're very, very involved with you, and they've been very involved with Beige to the World as well. Very, very invested. So, you know, what did that mean to you to be able to have such a strong support system?
I love the relationship, actually. Everyone just keep telling me just go and do my best, put my best foot forward, and that's what I did.
Shaquan, I remember the first time we saw you for the audition in St. John, and I think people thoroughly flog this because we talk about it all the time. You stood up to audition for the judges and you looked at the roof for the entire audition. So to see you come from that place where you were so shy that you weren't even comfortable enough to look the judges in their faces, to the Shaquan that we see now, what has been the transition for you? What clicked inside of you that helped you get to the place where you're the Shaquan out there, as the judges have said, you know, John King and others, being the sex symbol on stage, you know?
I believe it's the compliments and the Shaquan, you gotta do good, Shaquan, you have to perform, and then the constant, I don't want to say pressure, but the constant pressure will cause me to break out of my shell in a kind of sense of way.
All right, so I know you guys are feeling good about it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, transitioning out of these shirts, though, we've worn these shirts for so long, for many, many days and nights. How do you feel you're going to transition out of, I know you've made some relationships that are going to be lasting relationships. We won't out Shaquan on TV. But definitely news for the tabloids, you know. But, you know, how do you think you're going to transition out of the Beige to the World setup, which really is an everyday thing, with you guys to going back to that regular life? Or will you?
I'll see how, I have to see how it goes and just go with the flow, but I'm not sure what to expect as of now.
All right. Well, congratulations to you guys. Shaquan Smith, 3rd spot in last night's Beige to the World finale, and Kaimani Devonish, the showman, took 2nd spot. The guy who took 1st place lit up the place last night, and he was an early crowd favorite. Somewhere along the middle of the competition, the judges started saying, you know, we're not too sure, you know, is your popularity wavering? And he proved them all wrong last night. So we're going to get to see what's going on. We're going to talk to the man who took the 1st place. That, of course, is Kyrie Colleen. After this, stay with us. Audio.
Every day I better come out, better, betting more than you. This better better come out to sweat, I better sweating more than you. I come to wine and jam and I show to catch it more than you. Cause when I'm betting off, I just do it like a boss. I betting morning and evening. This is me home, I'm not leaving. I can't get over this feeling. I just wanna play myself. Leave me never play a man. I just wanna wind up something. I can't let a bumper pass. The pride in the loss and all. Watching how I wind it down.
It was the Kyrick show last night at the Wildy Gym. Kyrick Alain, congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I know the shades don't, they're not on because you're vain. I know that the eyes are behind there hiding. Talk to me about the road to taking the Beige to the World Season 3 title.
Well, it was a rough one indeed, but there's nothing that I don't regret within the competition. Everything happened for a reason, and that led us to this point, and it makes it feel even more worthy.
All right, now you came out guns blazing from the beginning, literally and figuratively. What did it feel like to have the level of support that you did in the gymnasium? Because I felt like there was a lot of support for the contestants generally, but for you it was a little more heightened than usual. So what was it like to have that level of support behind you going into the competition?
Well, I remember hearing the clips from our performances from prelims playing out, and I could hear the crowd cheering, and that's just before we get on the stage for the opening segment. And I'm just like, wow, this is overwhelming. This is actually persons that can see potential within my craft and see potential within entertainment.
$20,000, an opportunity to tour with Destra Garcia, a recording contract, and so many other prizes from partners and sponsors of Beige to the World. Have you taken it in as yet? Because I know we've not slept as yet. Or are you waiting to woosa and really taking it? Have you grasped the fact that you are the winner of Beige to the World Season 3? That's a no.
That's a no. The trophy look quite foreign.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not foreign at all, because if we get a full shot, it's matching with you, the hair. You are, truly just the full package of entertainment. And I want to offer congratulations to you and your entire team. I know it has been a long journey, and it's well deserved.
Yes, please, especially with persons behind the scenes, just like yourself. The artist liaisons, they made the process even smoother to know that there is a production team behind the scenes that cares.
All right, good stuff. Wonderful. So again, congratulations to the entire team. You made us incredibly proud last night with the presentations that you put down. Every single finalist, you were phenomenal. Congratulations to the top 3. Shaquan Smith, so proud of you, so far of where you've come from. Kaimani, you have been the consummate showman, and we expected nothing less. And Kyrick Alain, there he is with Destra Garcia. He's going to be heading out to tour with her and represent for Barbados as we take Barbados to the world. Congratulations again, guys, and go home and get some rest.
Thank you.
All right, any final words you'd like to say as you head into this 1-year tenure as really an ambassador for Barbados?
Which camera you gotta look at?
All right, they're going to tell you in a minute.
Right here.
All right, so go ahead.
This is for all the young, inspiring, upcoming practitioners within the arts. Trust the process. It may seem very tiring, but you never know. You may be in a situation where you're digging and digging, and you feel like this is the part where you might give up, and that is just where the goal is. I just want you to trust the process and understand that everything happens for a reason. All
right, Kyrick was with Beige to the World last year. He knows what he's telling you. And COVID knocked him out of the competition, and he came back and took it in 2023. So that's wonderful advice. Trust the process. Hey, that's for you as well. Have a fantastic day today. Make sure you check us out online. We have lots more coming up for you tomorrow. So make sure you come on back. Remember to wear your smiles today. Have a wonderful one. From the entire crew, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Time to hit the road.